Hello friends, welcome back to the video series on Oracle PL/SQL programming. In the previous video, already we have discussed on the implicit cursors. In this video, we will discuss on the explicit cursors. Explicit cursors are programmer-defined cursors for gaining more control over the context area. An explicit cursor should be defined in the declaration section of the PL/SQL block. It is created on a select statement which returns more than one row. And what is the syntax for creating an explicit cursor? That is the cursor, then the cursor name, then is, and then the select statement. Now, working with an explicit cursor includes the following steps. The first one, declaring the cursor for initializing the memory. Then opening the cursor for allocating the memory. Then fetching the cursor for retrieving the data. And finally, closing the cursor to release the allocated memory. When we are declaring a cursor means we are associating a cursor with the select statement. So when we are manipulating this cursor, the associated select statement does its job. But when we declaring it, we are just associating the cursor with select but not executed. When we open the cursor, the active set of memory opens and we get the result with the execution of the select statement. So whatever the results are retrieved from the active memory set is the process of fetch. And finally, we have fetched all the data, we close the cursor. Now, what are the attributes of the explicit cursors? Found, not found, is open, and row count. So, let's check as all these explicit cursor with the help of SQL Plus in the practical way. So, open the SQL Plus at first. At first, we have to connect with the Oracle database, and for that, the username is system and the password is password, as you know throughout the video series. Now we are connected to the Oracle database, and at first we are giving the statement set server output on. Now we should work with the employee table, and for that at first we are checking what are the records present in the employee table for the fields EMP-ID and also the last name from employee, that particular table. So there are total 31 records, and from 101 to 110 is our concern. Why? In the next, we should use an explicit cursor to find the 10 records, rather only EMP-ID and the last name. Now, we would also check if really no records found or not. So, as we have said, only the 10 records from the EMP-ID 101 to 110 are our concerns. So, at first we have to use the Oracle PL/SQL block, and for that at first clear the screen for better view. Now type declare, that means the declaration part. Then we are creating a variable, that is s_emp_id, and we are proceeding with the data type, that is from the table employee dot EMP-ID and percentage, the type of the EMP-ID. semicolon, then another variable that is s underscore last name, and also with the data type that is from the employee table and also with the field last name. For that, employee dot last name and percentage sign and then the type of the last name field. Then we are proceeding with the cursor, and here we are creating the cursor. The syntax, the first one keyword would be the cursor, then the name of the cursor. Suppose here we are providing the name of the cursor as em underscore cursor, then is the keyword, then select empid comma last name, that means the select statement from the table employee, semicolon, then the begin keyword to open the block, and here we are at first opening the cursor, and for that we are giving the keyword open and then the name of the cursor, that is em underscore cursor, semicolon. So it is required to check the cursor is open or not. Here we are just opening the cursor. Then we are providing a loop, and then we are giving the fetch. Fetch, that is em dot cursor into where, now that is s underscore empid comma s underscore last name, semicolon, press enter. Then the next statement we are exit from the loop, and when, that is the keyword, when em underscore cursor, that is percentage and then the row count, and that is greater than 0, sorry, that must be 10, greater than 10, or here we are also providing for the no record found, that means em underscore cursor and percentage, that particular sign, and not found, semicolon, press enter. Then the statement for the output, and for that dbms underscore output dot put underscore line, and here we are providing the first one s underscore empid, then double piping sign, and suppose here we are providing a colon also, then another single quote and then double pipe and the another variable name, that is s underscore last name, end of parenthesis and semicolon, and press enter. And now we are providing the end loop. So here the last one must be a semicolon. Press enter. Then we have to close the cursor also. So that is em underscore cursor, semicolon, and now we are ending the complete block, that means end. Practically here, when the total number of records exceeds 10, the loop terminates, or if no records also found, the loop terminates. So let execute the plsql block. And error at line 8. Let's check what is the error, that is fetch. And yes, there is the error because we have provided here em dot cursor, not underscore. Save and exit, and once again execute it, and here we are getting the result from 101 to 110. So the plsql procedure successfully completed using the explicit cursor. So that is how we can use the explicit cursor in the Oracle PL SQL.